Good morning, friends. Today we are dealing with our poem Ode to Autumn by John Keats. The last video we talked about John Keats and the romanticism and the background of this poem. In this video, I am trying to give you explanation on this Ode to Autumn. Let me tell you one thing. Normally, people consider autumn as a dull season. We glorify winter and spring and summer as season of flowers, fruits, and so. And here in this poem, he's trying to reverse that idea by glorifying autumn season, as it becomes a season of fruits and flowers. Let us start with the poem. Season of mist and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with the fruit the vines that round the thatched eaves run. Here the poet is trying to bring a friendship between sun, maturing sun, full bright sun with autumn season. Poet here trying to say that here the sun is in friendship with the autumn season to bring out fruits, ripen fruits. So in the first stanza, he says that autumn is the season of mist, and all the area will be covered with mist to bring out fruits. And mellow means the ripe fruitfulness. So season of mist, autumn is the season of mist and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun. And autumn season becomes the close friend, bosom friend of the maturing sun, the elder sun, the full sun. Conspiring with him, conspiracy, he is making, our autumn season is making conspiracy with the sun. What he is going to make conspire about? How to load and bless with the fruit, how to bring trees or vines with the fruits, the vines that round the thatched eaves run. Vines means, the climbing plant, grapevine. So here, poet is trying to talk about how autumn conspires with his bosom friend sun to bring what fruits, loaded with fruits on trees and vines that round what the vines are doing, that round the thatch eaves run. It is, on the walls it run. The vines that runs on the walls to the thatches, to the roofs, and it will be loaded with fruits. So what are the other things that we can see on the autumn season? See, come to the next lines. To bend with apples the most cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core. No, apple trees will be bent with its overweight were on the most cottage trees. Nearby cottage trees will be covered with moss. You might have seen greenish trees, green color on the trunk of the trees, moss covered. So the apples is overloaded on the most cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core. Each and every apple fruit is ripened to the core, to the center. So it is full of ripened fruit to swell the gourd and plumb the hazel cells. To swell the gourd. Gourd means another type of climbing vines producing fruit with a hard shell. So in the case of apple, that we can understand, it is full loaded. The tree is loaded with ripen apples to the core. And what will happen to gourd? It will be just like plump. What is plump? Chubby or overweight flower, fruits. The hazel shells is a greenish brown color nut. So autumn plays with the gourd and with the hazel shells with the sweet kernel means center. So up into the core, into the center, the autumn season plays with the sweetness, whether it is with the hazel shells, it is with the gourd, or it is with the apples. The autumn makes all the fruits and nuts ripen with the sweet. And still more later, flowers for the bees. What will happen to the bees? Honey bees, the later flowers also will be full of honey until they think warm days will never cease. The honey bees will think that the warm days of autumn should not be end. Cease means stop or end. So they will dream of sustaining the autumn season with full of honey in those flowers. For summer has overbrimmed their clammy shells. So what happened to their clammy means warm cells? Summer has overbrimmed. Summer has overfilled their clammy cells, brings to the edge. Summer has filled their honey hives with full of honey. So the first stanza is over. In this stanza, we can understand autumn season as someone visits with full of sweet, and it nurtures the nature with the fruits and flowers and honeys. And the next line, second line, John Keats is trying to personify autumn season. What is personification? Adding the quality of living things to non-living things. Here, the non-living thing, autumn, gets the quality of a woman. In the next line, next stanza, John Keats is personifying autumn season to a woman who is sitting near the granary. Granary means a region where grain is growing. A field, sometimes it may be a field. So, who hath not seen thee often amid thy store? Sometime whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor. Who hath not seen? Who should not have seen thee, you, often, always, amid, in the middle of thy store, the store of grains, ധാന്യങ്ങൾ. Sometime whoever seeks abroad may find. Someone who is seeking you outside may find what? Thee. Here thee. Who is thee here? The autumn season. Thee sitting careless on a granary floor. So in the fields also, in the this autumn season, works a lot. Here also, autumn season also bringing warmth and fruits and grains in the fields, full of grains. It flourishes, it makes the fertile the season. See, what is the imagery he's giving here? A woman who's sitting careless on the granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind. The hair of that lady, it is loosely held and it is soft and lifted by the winnowing wind. So what is the woman or lady doing there? She is sitting on the granary floor, on the floor of the grains, and her hair, soft hair, is lifted by the winnowing wind. Winnowing is the action of separating grains from its shells with the use of air. You might have seen using fan or some air current where it is the grain is exposed to strong air flow, then the grains can be separated from its waste. So that is the action. So what the lady is doing, she is sitting. Lady here is the personification of autumn season, and sitting on the granary floor, and her hair is lifted by the winnowing wind, or on a half reaped furrow sound asleep. And there is a long narrow ditch or a hole in the ground, that is the furrow. Or on a half, sometimes the lady might be sitting on the granary floor, or sometime she's on a half reaped furrow, sound asleep, full of asleep. She may be sleeping. The autumn season may be sleeping on the furrow, on that long hole of that half reaped. What is reaper? Solitary reaper. You might have heard reaping the field. So this all the winnowing and reaping, this always related to the activities with agriculture. Or on a half reaped furrow sound asleep, drowsed with the fume of poppies. Drowsing means falling with sleep, heavy loaded with sleep, drowsing with the fume of poppies, the smell or the gas of poppies. Poppies is the flowers where opium is produced. Opium is a narcotic. While they're hooking, hook. We will hook something on the wall while we are trying to bring that opium out of these poppy flowers. There will be that fume, that smell, that induce, that cause what? Drowsiness, sleeping. So this all action related to agriculture. The autumn season in this second stanza is personified with a lady who is sitting on the granary floor. Sometimes she is doing the winnowing or reaping or hooking or opium out of poppy flower. And sometime what she might be doing, she might be spares the next swath, and it is twined flowers. Again, she's talking about that poppy flowers. She might be cutting a mark. Swath means cutting a mark. And or is this twined flowers, the collecting that flowers to make opium. And sometime like a gleaner. What is the gleaning? Also an activity connected to what? Agriculture. It means to collect what is left in the field after this cultivation. Collecting what is left in the field. And sometime like a gleaner, she might be doing the action of a gleaner, though does keep study by laden head across the brook. And she might be or doused or not study thy laden. Thy means you are, laden means full heavy loaded. Her head might be down with it may be because she might have taken that opium. She might be dealing with that opium flowers, poppies, and head across the brook. Brook is the stream, small stream, aruvi, or by a cedar press with a patient look. Cedar press is the machine that you can ooze out the juice of apple. And she might be patiently looking on that cedar press or that machine, waiting to ooze out that apple juice. The watches the last oozings hours by hours. It takes much time to get those apple juices, and she might be spending hours by hours watching the last oozing of that apple juice from the cedar press. In this second stanza, autumn season is personified with a woman who is doing all these agricultural activities. It is first we can see she is sitting on the middle of the field and winnowing with the help of the air. And later we can see she is cutting the flowers. She makes a cut mark in the poppies flowers to make opium. Then we can see she is doing the action of gleaning or gleaner, to collect the leftovers from the field, and she might be waiting to take the last oozings of the apple syrup. So these are the uh, actions that a female is doing in that field, agriculture field. And we are moving to the last stanza, the third stanza. Here he's trying to talk about what are the other things that we can see in this autumn season. And here also he talks about spring season. Normally all people trying to celebrate the beauty of spring. So he says that autumn too is beautiful. Autumn too got its own qualities. You should not avoid autumn when we compare it with spring. So where are the songs of spring? Where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. He's addressing autumn season by saying that where are the songs of spring? Where they have gone? Where are they? Just forget about it. Think not of them. Though here means you has thy music too. You have your own music. Autumn season, you should not compare yourself with the spring season. It got its own songs, and you have your own music. Just you can think about people when we feel that we don't have anything. He or she got such and such qualities, and at that time we can think of these lines. My most influencing lines: where are the songs of spring? Oh, where are they? Think not of them, just forget about others. You have your own music too. While the barred clouds bloom the soft dying day, in the evening, in the sunset, the dying day, soft dying day, we can see barred clouds blooming on the sky. Barred means caged or within the iron bars. While barred clouds bloom the soft dying day, it is just like a decoration and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. What is the effect of this cloud blooms or clouds bloom on the stable plains. Stables means short stalks left in the field after the harvest. ചെറിയ തണ്ടുകൾ ഷോർട്ട് stalks left in the field after the harvest. And the clouds touches the stubble plains with rosy hue. Hue means shade of color. So in the evening, at the time of sunset, the sky is covered with what a lot of blooming clouds. And what is the effect of those clouds on the stable plains? It brings a rosy shaded color on that stubble plains. Then in a wailful choir the small notes mourn. Then in a wailful, complainful, a crying, mourning choir song, group song of the small notes. Notes means small insects. Mourning, crying. You might have heard in the evening, small insects will be crying, making sounds just like a complaining song. Among the river sallows means yellowish, on the yellowish tinge of color on the that flow of river borne aloft. So what is the effect of autumn season on river? And the river gets an yellowish color. It is the evening, okay, it is the twilight, it gets an yellowish color. And it is borne, carried. Borne means carried aloft. Aloft means above. So the river flows with an yellowish color on its on its body, on its water. The color of the river, flow of the river gets an yellowish golden. You can just imagine, it is just like golden flow of rivers. Or singing as the light wind lives or dies. And it will be that yellowish color, that water flow will be singing down as the late wind lives or dies. So when the wind blows, sometime that light tender wind comes and goes, that is lives or dies. We can see that yellowish color in that flow of the river that will be singing. So just bring your imagination. When it is the evening, we can see the yellowish river is flowing, and sometime when the wind comes, that will be singing, and when it goes, it ends. When the wind goes, it dies. And full grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bone. From the hilly areas, we can see the loud sound of bleating lambs. Bleating, the crying sound of the lamb will be can be heard from the hilly areas. So what we can see, and full grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bone, and hedge cricket sing. Hedge, you can see, it is the bushes planted as a fence. Just think about a village. There you can see bushes around some field or house, just acting as a fence. So crickets sing. You might have heard that the singing, penetrating song of that crickets. So on the head, crickets sing. And now with the tremble soft. Tremble means penetrating, piercing, softness. Sometimes we might feel that is something disturbing, but here the poet says that that song of the hedge cricket is tremble soft, at the same time penetrating, and it is soft too. Then we can hear the red breast is a bird, name of a bird. I will show you the picture later. Whistles from a garden croft. It making the whistling sound from the garden croft. Croft means piece of land, enclosed piece of land. It may be some field, and gathering swallows titter in the skies. And what it is doing, and gathering, collecting swallows titter in the skies, and the sky becomes swallowing fully full of sounds, collected sounds of tittering sound, titter, the sound of the bird in the skies. So in the last stanza we can see autumn season is not inferior than the beauty of the celebrated beauty of the spring season. It is as important, as beautiful, as equal to that of spring season, or sometime more than that. The only thing that we have to do, we have to identify, we have to observe each and every beauty in that autumn season. It can be within the season, or within the person, or within anything, and we have to glorify it. Then we should not underestimate anything as inferior. So that is all about this explanation of the poem. Later we will go to it is a structure of the poem. So friends, let us talk about the structure of the poem. And the first part is made up of first 4 lines of the stanza, and the second part is made up of the last 7 lines. The first part of each stanza follows an AB rhyme scheme, the first line rhyming with the third, and the second line rhyming with the fourth. The second part of each stanza is longer and varies in rhyme scheme. The first stanza is arranged CD, ED, CCE, and the second stanza and third stanzas are arranged CDE, CDDE. And in the thematically also, the first part of each stanza serves to define the subject of the stanza, and the second part offers room for musing, development, and speculation on that subject. However, this thematic division is only very general. Okay friends, that is all, and we can discuss it in our class. Thank you for listening.